Hey there, hope you're doing well. This is video number 3 in this poker analogy series, if I could call it that. If you haven't checked out the last two podcasts, definitely check them out. They are in this series, they are different. They talk about poker and they draw I try to draw an analogy between poker, real life slash software, and software in those two podcasts as well. So the first one, I talked about what poker teaches by way of reputation, how difficult it is to build that, and how important it is to maintain it, and how easy it is to squander it away as well. In the first one I talked about. In the second podcast I talked about adaptability, what poker teaches about adaptability and how you need to exercise that as a company, both as a company as an individual. Sorry, I'm freezing up here. It is a little bit, it's on the chillier side. Obviously it's February, but the sun is going down, it's getting colder. Sorry. So the second one I talked about adaptability. In this third one, I'm going to talk about what poker teaches by way of longevity. And let's see what, hopefully I can articulate this again half as well as I have it in my mind. That'll be, I'll take that because it's a little bit subjective. It's much easier to articulate things that are quantitative. That's what I do most of the time. We do at Snowpal. But as we've gotten into sales and prospecting, we've realized that subjectivity is a huge element of not just in life, but in business as well. So these are still maybe exercises, if you will, in me trying to talk subjectivity in podcast more so than I've ever done before. Okay, let's see how this goes, and wish me luck. So longevity. When you're sitting at the poker table, there are people. Let's not talk formats like I mentioned the last two podcasts, poker formats. Let's just talk. Let's say cash game, for instance. Not that it makes a difference, but for the purpose of this monologue, but we'll still take that as an example. When you're playing a cash game, there are people who sort of pop in, they're in a rush, they play for half hour, 1 hour, they try their luck and get out. That's not the common behavior. Poker is a different kind of, it is, I guess it's surely gambling because it's played at a casino, but there is certainly an element of math and being able to read your players and whatnot to it. At least that's what we want to believe as poker players. Who knows? The majority of them sit at the table, get a hang of the table, the people, the players, how things go, just to understand the strangers that you're playing against. Because that goes a long way. It's not just the hands that you're playing the players, as they say. So it's very important. So most of the players at the table are playing not just for like an hour or two, at least from what I've seen over the years. They committed to it for several hours. It takes many hours before you can actually play hands because you need to you better have a good read of the people who are playing. You're playing games, otherwise you're going to get busted soon, sooner than later. You should at least. So you invest the time to learn the table, the people, the hands that you're not part of, the hands that you are part of, both combined. And you learn more by just watching other people play in the hands that you're not part of, because you know how things are, you pick up on body language, gestures, and the whole 9 yards. Similarly, in some ways, if I extrapolated that to software, life in general, but software more specifically, your time, how long you play the game of building it, running the company goes a long way in defining the outcome. So the people who play for lengthy periods of time on a poker table tend to, and learn the game better, tend to make adjustments, improvements, and tend to go out positive. Hope, and at least that's a hope, and I'm pretty sure that if someone did an analysis, that's certainly going to be the case, or it's going to be close to that. People who pop in and pop out, just ride the luck. It's then purely gambling in that case, right? Then you have little control, or much lesser control than you would otherwise have. I'm not saying you have complete control on a poker table, because the hand that gets dealt to you, you don't choose that hand, but how you play it, whether you play it or not at all to begin with, it's left to you. Similarly, how long you do something, because you're trying to, software, again, I don't know if there's any business where you can just try your luck immediately and make some money and get out. But I can speak to software as a product company. It takes time to build anything that you want to build, especially if you do it with utmost commitment and passion, and you feel like the code and everything that you create, the artifacts talk to you, because you're committed to it. Your heart beats for it. It takes that much longer, and you're in there for the long haul, right? You plant the seeds. That's what we all do. You want to reap the benefits, the outcome of the labor, and you will. But when you do it, how long it takes, it's not necessarily in your control, because the macro and microeconomic conditions are going to dictate that to a large extent. Things change all the time. Like they say, I think I read somewhere, that more than timing the stock market, the time in the stock market makes a big difference. Because I don't know if everybody, other than if you're Warren Buffett, you can get in the lowest and get out of the highest. So you're going to have to make some read, see what you're comfortable investing in or what you're not comfortable investing in, make those sorts of decisions, and then probably be in there for the long haul. I mean, this is not a stock trading podcast. Maybe I'll do that one day, but you get the idea here. So you have to be in there for the long haul. It's easier said than done. If you're borrowing money, you're getting funded, you have to be answerable to a lot of people. So there's no silver bullet there. To each their own. You have to deal with the problems and find solutions the best way you can. But regardless, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say that you have to be in there for the long haul. And I can speak to it from personal experience, because the day we launched our first product, snowpal.com, our web app was the first one. After we launched it, we go to Google and try to search search for Snowpal. It doesn't find anything. Not even your DNS, your domain. It doesn't even find it, because you're brand new. Now you could have done some other things possibly along the way to have made that happen, but outside of that, you couldn't find us on the web. Fast forward like a few years, now you go type Snowpal. I don't know if you find anything else at all. It looks like the word is used in another context, like in the context of snow and whatnot. So you might find one or two, but predominantly it's us, our web apps, mobile apps, APIs, podcasts, education platform, and a number of things we do as a business. It shows up. I mean, it didn't happen magically. It happened both organically and the effort that we all had to put in to make that happen. Search engine optimization and whatnot. So it takes time. And similarly, building APIs. Anytime we've done any of this, we've taken up these complex efforts and challenges. In earlier days, when you used to go ask people, the only types of comments you would have gotten was, hey, you guys are trying to bite more than you can chew. You shouldn't do it. You can drop these features. Maybe don't do everything you're trying to do. We took all of that feedback in good stride and did what we were planning to do regardless, because we knew we could do it. We could pull it off, and we've done that time and again. I know our web app has so many features, more so than other project management systems I know of. Our mobile apps do 75% of what our web does, and we have like n number of APIs with thousands of endpoints at this point in production. So, but all of that takes a lot of commitment, time, and effort, which I think is no different from your commitment at the poker table. There's going to be ups and downs. You're going to have learnings along the way, challenges, things you didn't expect. Even if you played for a long time at the table, you're going to have people who pop in and pop out because somebody left the table, and that person who got replaced momentarily changes the whole dynamics of the game. Maybe things you built up until that point, the stack was dented, or maybe they gave you some free chairs because they played poorly, or you got lucky, whatever the case might be. Things change, so you're going to have ups and downs, much like in life and in software development. You're going to have to accommodate, adjust, and make, constantly make those adjustments. Not all of us control everything. Most of us don't get to control anything, right? Even if you believe you control destiny, not necessarily true. So fatalism certainly helps in certain cases. So what you can do is put your best foot forward every single day and keep chugging along. And that, I don't know, I'm sure other games teach you that as much. I could have taken tennis as an example. I've done this, but since I haven't played tennis in a long time, I'm just taking the example of something that I did recently because it just resonates more with me at this point of time. It doesn't matter what, no matter what the sport, the analogy probably is still similar, but I'm just taking one that I played recently, so I can give you more practical and pragmatic examples and try to draw the correlation between the two. So, longevity. In other words, consistency. You're going to have to do it well. You're going to have to do it, first of all. You're going to have to do it well. And you're going to have to do it repeatedly for long periods of time. And then things will happen. It's going to take immense amount of patience. I mentioned this in the first podcast. You're going to improve, build your reputation, keep it intact, and improve upon it every single day. So your company and the reputation grows all the time. Your company and the reputation, all of it grow. The second podcast, I talked about adaptability, how you learn adaptability in poker and how you should apply that towards software development. In this third one, talking about longevity, how long you do it. And hopefully, collectively, these podcasts resonate with you. And if you're playing poker, maybe it resonates with you a little bit more as well. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.